What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your man Chazzellis once again answering the questions that you asked me. I just got a really good question. It was, why do women shack up with men? And the reason why this question was really good is because she actually kind of broke it down into 3 parts, asking me 3 questions in one. Now, I ain't telling everybody to do that. Look, don't try to all ask me 3 questions in one. I'm not going to probably be able to answer everybody that does it. But I did like the way she asked this question because they all were relative to the first question that she asked. She said, should women shack up with men? Then she kind of broke it down. She said, why do women shack up with men so much nowadays where, that wasn't something that women did? Then she said, is it good? Is it a good idea for women to shack up with men? And then she also said, well, if it is a good idea, if you should do it, how long should you do it for? All good questions. And I decided to answer them all. Okay, the way I'm going to answer them is probably going to be broken down into 3 parts because I'm not really sure if I could do this in a video that's not ridiculously, seriously, super long. Some people think they're all long, but, anyway. Even for people with a good attention span, I don't want to make it so ridiculously long. And that's 3 pretty good questions, so it's going to probably take a second. Anyway, we'll get right into it. Okay, the number 1 reason why, and they're not really in any order, but why do women shack up with men? The biggest reason that I can think of is that people get married later. I'm not going to try to go into women's emotional state and all that kind of stuff because you're a woman. You know what your emotional state is. I'm looking at it from, what in society has changed to make women want to do what they do nowadays as opposed to what they want to do, to what they did before. So anyway, people just get married later. It used to be a time when you get right out of high school and bam, everybody would get married around that time, especially all of the women. You get married out of high school or you get married before you were 25. Everybody pretty much did that. If you were 25, 26 years old and you weren't married, people would be like, you're an old maid. You didn't see somebody 30 years old not married. That was abnormal. So that's a big one. And now, how does that work into this situation? Well, when you get married later, that means that you've established a different lifestyle. Now people have jobs. They have a car. They have a career, not just a job, but a career in their own house, apartment that they live in. So because of that, you got to ask yourself the question, if I have my own house and apartment, that means I have the ability to shack up with somebody. Whereas before, people would go straight from mom and dad's house to whatever relationship they were in and get married. So if I'm going straight from mom and dad's house to marriage, what period do I have to shack up? Plus, if I live with my mom and dad, then it's not like you could come to my house and live with me. And if you live with your mom and dad, how does that work? So now people have the ability to shack up. Whereas before, they got married so early, they really didn't. It wasn't like you could take somebody from their mom and dad's house. Now people are independent and they don't have to listen to their parents. They don't have to follow their rules, so they can just shack up. Whereas before, you'd be coming from mom and dad's house, so you couldn't just do what you wanted. Number 2, women have sex. When you have sex, that means both parties are going to want someone to sleep with, chill with, and y'all going to be going over each other's houses. Well, it only makes sense after a while of going over somebody's house, having to wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning so you can make it to work. It only makes sense to say, hey, let's consolidate our assets and move in together, So now we paying half the rent instead of 2 different, rent bills and stuff. Utilities come together. This is cutting everything in half. It only makes sense, and because you're having sex, that means both parties are going to want to be closer to each other on a regular basis. Guys are more likely to say, hey, you can come stay here. If you was coming to stay at a brother's house and you wasn't having sex, he's probably not going to want you to stay there all day and all night. That's going to be cutting into his masturbation and Xbox time if you wasn't giving him sex. I'm just keeping it real. I know that probably sounds messed up, but I'm just keeping it real. So it makes more sense because women have sex now. Another one, number 3, was people don't know each other as well as they did before. Things have changed. Okay, look at it now. Look how you meet people now. Back in the day, like say this was 1930, right? You most likely meet somebody at church. or you grew up with them, or a family member or a friend, somebody introduced you to them, right? And they knew them real well. And their family would live right around the corner from you. Even if y'all lived in like a city or something like that, they wouldn't live too far. You know, because really you didn't have the ability to correspond with somebody who lived far away or meet somebody who lived that far away. For the most part. Maybe the person was coming from out of town or something like that, but how often is that really going to happen? Usually it was, I live in Philadelphia, you live in Philadelphia. That's how we got together. We met each other in Philadelphia. Our parents live in Philadelphia. Our friends live in Philadelphia. So therefore, all of us know each other from that one spot. You know, I live in Alabama, you live in Alabama. You know, we live in this one area. If I live in Montgomery, Alabama, you live in Montgomery, Alabama. It's that simple. We live close to each other. Our families live close to each other. So getting to know somebody was a lot easier because you had a reference. They went to your church probably. So therefore, you already know the foundation of what they're going to basically believe because y'all have gone to the same church probably since y'all were kids. And even if you didn't go to the same church since you were kids, they went to like a sister church or something like that. And you knew people who knew them and could vouch for their character. Plus, you'd meet their family real quick. Well, look at how we meet now. Internet. People move in from new cities and towns and stuff like that. So it's a totally different world and ball game. You know, when someone moves in from a different town, you don't know them. You don't know anybody who knows them. You don't know their friends. You don't know their family. You know, y'all live in Florida and their family lives in Maine and your family lives in California. Your families don't get to know each other. So there's no pressure from families saying, hey, y'all need to get married right away and all that kind of stuff. We know his family. We like their family. It's no building of a family that used to happen. It used to be we both live in the same city. Our families live in the same city. Now if we all get married and stuff, we can go have picnics and whatnot together. It was that kind of thing. It was like you became a part of this huge family. And people meet differently nowadays. Everybody lives so far apart. So how do you do that? How do you even make it happen? Number 4. Marriage just isn't the come up that it used to be for women. Really just isn't. I know some people would disagree with that, but just hear me out and think about what I'm saying. Marriage just isn't the come up that it used to be. So women are more leery about getting married to somebody and want to get to know that person a lot better. You know, like I was saying before about people meeting in different ways. Now, you know, because you don't know somebody as easy and you don't know their family and what kind of background they come from, you got to make sure that person is going to pay their bills on time, is going to be this, you know what I mean? Like this logistical stuff that you just didn't have to really think about before because you know so much about them. Well, now marriage just ain't the come up that it used to be. A lot of women are marrying dudes that have a lot less than they do. You know, because a lot of women are getting better jobs. They have better careers than the dude that they're with. So it ain't the come up. So now you got to make sure the dude is on point and he's going to do the right thing more so than before, because now you have your own job, you have your own house, and you might have to leave all that behind to get married to this dude. Or you might have to let him come in and share in your property and stuff. And I mean, is he going to, you know, now you might lose half of that getting married. Now it ain't just guys losing half of it. Sometimes women do too. Yeah, most of the time you do see a guy take the biggest L, but marriage just ain't the come up for women like it used to be. Whereas like you go from nothing, you don't have to work or anything. It's not the come up that it used to be. So for that reason, women have a lot to protect, and they're like, you know what? I'm not just going to marry somebody right off top. Okay, those were the reasons why. Part 2 is going to be, should women shack up? Check that out. Also, make sure you check out the askchazzellisproject.com. That's my website. Look at that. Check that out. See all the different stuff that's going to be on there. Also, go to Ask Chazzellis on Facebook. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave comments in the box below on some of your opinions about what you think about women shacking up and stuff like that, too. People like to know. A lot of people look at each other's opinions, and y'all have your own little conversations back and forth, and that's cool. Also, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to share this with somebody else so y'all can have a dialogue about it, that'd be great. Once again, it's your man, Chaz Ellis. Stay tuned for part 2. Peace.